Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates, and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're so close to 8,000 subscribers on here, which is insane. And drop a like on the video if you enjoy it as well. It does help me out. Loads of you in here already, which we love to see. Mr. High Edits, who was here about an hour ago, telling me to do more shorts. I will try and do that. Magnus, good to see you. Absolute cack. Vivi Vlad, Pekka, Saka, Emili Yoyoyoyoy, Ben Sharp, Ross Lawman, Smithy, Blake, Ethan Udall. It is good to see you all. It is good to see you all. I hope you've all had a good day. We're over halfway through the week. We are over halfway through the week. And the weekend of football's on its way. I don't know, did anyone watch the Champions League last night? It was, I was quite impressed actually with PSG. I do think, I do think, Mbappe is obviously a big difference maker, but in the end, they went through pretty comfortably against Sociedad, and Sociedad aren't a bad team, and they set up quite well. So that was quite impressive. And obviously, Bayern Munich made their comeback and went through as well. So, the quarterfinals of the Champions League, if we get there, are setting up to be pretty big. Assuming Madrid and City go through tonight, you've got PSG and Bayern already through. If we make it, and then you've got either Napoli or Barca, Atletico or Inter, probably Inter, who are, cruising at the top of Serie A. And then you've obviously got PSV or Dortmund, which is probably the only, going into that draw, the one that you want the most is probably going to be the winner of PSV and Dortmund. But would love to get back. Look, I think we can beat Bayern. I still don't think they looked that good last night. Lazio were poor. But the Champions League, Sportcat's right. The Champions League is heating up. A few more of you have dropped in as well. Hannah, Wasif, Sharmarke, Fizzy, Max, Sportcat, two Maxes, Steifberg and Evans. Good to see both of you. Nishan, Joseph, and anyone else that I've missed as well. Massively appreciated. The Moist Banana says, I saw a TikTok. Apparently, Arsenal have 250 million to spend on a striker. Is that fact or fiction? That is fiction. That is fiction. There's no striker that's going to cost 250 million anyway. But no, there was someone that was reporting, and in the know that was reporting that Arsenal will have 250 million pounds to spend plus sales. And from what I can gather, that is just nonsense. We might end up with 250 million to spend in total, but that will depend on sales and how much we make off those sales. So we'll see. Philip, good to see you. Francisco, good to see you as well. I'm very well, thank you. 250 million to spend on a striker, or we signed in Prime, Henry and Bergkamp. Literally, if we had 250 million to spend, you just go out and get Mbappe, wouldn't you? Admittedly, I haven't watched him much, but I don't get it with Zubimendi. Feels like a very mess signing if we're paying 60 million. Yeah, we're going to talk about Zubimendi because, again, I've not watched him a huge amount, but the two legs against PSG for me were a little bit worrying. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Who's your top midfield target, providing we get Gyökeres? Who's your main midfielder? Well, we're going to get into that. We are going to get into that because I'm not sure at the moment is the truth. I'm not sure at the moment, but we'll talk about some of the options. I'll get your opinion on it as well. Leo, good to see you. Louis, a young prospect behind Rice has to be a priority. Well, so that is an interesting thing, right? So in an article yesterday, I think it was yesterday in The Athletic from David Ornstein, he confirmed that a striker is definitely our main priority this summer, but he also said the academy is where a lot of the focus is going to be. That a lot more budget will be going towards the academy, and that's not just physically going out and paying extra wages and potentially compensation for academy players, but also the whole structure and building it out. And I think that is the way that you've got to compete. Of course, you've got to bring in the big signings, but also sustainably long term to keep turning over the profit on players that you sell from the academy and stuff like that. You need a well-functioning academy. So I think that's where a lot of the money's going to go. Can you tell us who you think will be sold? So Ramsdale, I think, will be our biggest sale in terms of the money we get for him. I then think we'll sell Nketiah. I think we'll sell Thomas Partey. I think we'll sell Reece Nelson. And I think that's it. We might sell some other, either Sambi, Lokonga, or Patino. Can't see both of them staying. But they're the main ones that I think we'll sell. Very smart. Chelsea and Man City have shown why the academy is so important. Exactly. And I think that's what we want to compete with, which, like you said, is smart. Has Hato signed the 4-year contract at Ajax? I believe so. I believe he did sign a new 4-year contract, but that's fine. Like, I think Timber had relatively recently signed a contract at Ajax as well. Ajax are a smart club. They have most of their players on long contracts at all times, especially the young players, and they get good money for them. It's one of the reasons I still think Timber was an absolute steal. But they know who they know who they're dealing with, which is why they absolutely rinsed the life out of Manchester United. Tierney's another one. Yeah, Tierney's another one that I forgot. El Neni and Cedric will leave on freeze. Yeah, we won't get money for them, which is fine. To be honest, the main thing is getting them off the wage books. And actually, talking about the wage books, so this is coming from Charlie Wyatt in The Sun, who is kind of a middle tier source, but what he's saying isn't a big thing, so I'd imagine it's true. And that is that Tomiyasu's new deal is signed and sealed. Tomiyasu's new deal will include a doubling of his wages up to £100,000 per week. That is very good. £100,000 a week for Tomiyasu. Again, if he can stay fit, it's a big thing. But if you take that part out of it, Tomiyasu on £100,000 a week is brilliant. Like, to go from Cedric on £100,000 a week to Tomiyasu on £100,000 a week with that level increase, that's perfect. So, and that's a big thing, with getting. Yeah, I was quite surprised that he was still on 50. 50 is 50's not a lot for a player that was, for a period this season, arguably was a starting 11 player at Arsenal. £50,000 a week is. I mean, it's mental to say out loud that £50,000 a week isn't a lot. It's an insane amount of money, but in the context of players at Arsenal, not a huge amount. And Charlie White also said Ben White's new deal is extremely close and could be sealed this month. So they are expecting Ben White's deal to go through as well. I would expect he'll be on more money than Tomiyasu, based on the fact that he has started whenever he is fit and available. And that's a good sign as well. I think both of them are good enough to be in the Arsenal squad. I think Tomiyasu will definitely be a rotational squad player next season. But, that is a very good high-level player to have who can fill in anywhere across the back line. 110 viewers after 5 minutes. It's incredible. It's incredible. Honestly, the way the views are going up, it motivates me. It massively motivates me. And, we've been live every day for nearly 2 weeks straight now. And I'm really enjoying it. And I do massively appreciate all of you that keep tuning in as well. White will be on like 120 to 150K. Yeah, something like that, I would assume. David Ornstein mentioned in the podcast that they haven't decided if they want a 6 or an 8. Yeah, well, again, maybe that does depend on whether, who we keep out of Patino and Sambi, and also whether or not Thomas Partey moves on this summer. My assumption is that Partey will move on and that we'll sell him. But maybe he doesn't. I mean, I'd be very surprised if we went and got a 6, because from what I can tell from interviews, Declan Rice sees himself as the 6. So if we go out and spend 60, 80, 100 million on a midfielder and end up with 2 6s in Rice and whoever that is, and no real, absolutely defined 8, I'd be surprised. I think it'll be an 8. But we'll see. We'll see. There's rumours of Arda Güler. That Madrid are going to loan him. Well, if you remember, if you were one of the OGs that was here last summer I was keen on Arda Güler, and he's gone to Madrid and really not done a lot. I think he's been injured and struggled, and to be honest, it's got Martin Ødegaard written all over it. It's got Ødegaard written all over it. Why do you think Smith Rowe didn't come on against Sheffield? Would have been great to see him score and to get his confidence back. He looks low on confidence. I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. I think, well, I mean, who came on? Partey? Fine. He needed to come on. Fabio Vieira arguably needed to come on for Saka. And I think Fabio Vieira for Saka was, I think that was probably the difference, right? I think Saka had to come off. And when he decided that Fabio Vieira was going on, that almost meant that Smith Rowe wasn't going to go on. I think it was between Fabio Vieira and Smith Rowe. Because then Cedric came on at right back, which fine. No one else could have done that. I guess did Trossard come on in the midfield? I'm not sure. John, I'm sorry. Honestly, I don't pick and choose which ones I read out. I honestly sometimes I don't read someone's message for a while, but it's not out of I read the ones that catch my eye as I'm going. I try and read everyone's, but that's so true. Odegaard 2.0. Yeah, look, the thing is, it's slightly different to Odegaard because he's still a long way off Odegaard's level, even when we brought in Odegaard on loan. But it's an interesting one. It's one to keep an eye on because I was keen on him. Muniz is class. Would you take him at the Arsenal? I can't even think who you're talking about. Which one's Muniz? I keep getting confused between Muniz and Munoz. Who is Muniz? Rodrigo Muniz? Oh, the guy at Fulham. Yeah, the guy at Fulham. Yeah. That was the guy I was thinking about because I keep talking about him on TikTok. He's impressive. Whether or not he's Arsenal's level, I don't know. But he is 22 years old. Pretty young. Yeah, he's been on fire. Yeah, I do keep getting confused between Muniz and Munoz. I feel like Madrid wouldn't make the same mistake with us again after Odegaard. They would at least ask for a sell-on clause. Possibly. But then you never know what Madrid have to do this summer to finance the Mbappe deal. These are the sorts of summers where when a club is going out and spending a lot of money on a player, and it's not just about the transfer fee, because obviously with Mbappe there won't be one. It's about how you've got to structure things with the wage bill and stuff. Clubs can get not desperate, but they can, they have to do business, right? They have to do business. It's similar to, City letting go of Zinchenko, Jesus when they brought in Haaland. I think, even though maybe now people won't see it the same way, but at the time it looked like we'd got Jesus and Zinchenko really for good deals. And so I that could happen at Madrid this summer. It could. Hi, Rory. Only players I would go for in the summer is De Jong, Osimhen, and Mark Guehi. Only 3 we need for next year. Guehi's interesting. Guehi is interesting. I don't think we'll go for him. Daily AFC content's in. They also want to buy Davies too. Cheeky Valverde on the cards. Well, yeah. I mean, God, their team is going to be unbelievable. It really is going to be unbelievable. Like some of those starting lineups that they could have next season if they bring in Davies and Mbappe, it's filth. It is absolute filth. It seems everyone has already given up on Osimhen, but I wouldn't underestimate Champions League pull and Arteta magic, even if he's actually a Chelsea fan. I think it's a money thing. I think people, don't get me wrong. Osimhen is very, very good. He's probably the best striker available on the market, but 120 million is a lot of money. And I was looking at it today, right? I was looking at a graphic of all of the 20 most expensive signings in Premier League history. And I think the bottom of that list was 70 million for Havertz going to Chelsea. And it was like all but 2 or 3 of them were considered flops. All of the £100 million signings bar Declan Rice. And in fact, even one of the ones that graphic considered as a success was Jack Grealish. And I still look back at that and think 100 million for Jack Grealish, realistically, like they'll always have the argument that he was a big part of them winning the treble and therefore was worth it. But 100 million for a player who had one decent season, didn't really, didn't hit the ground running in the first season, had a good second season and has fallen off in the third season. And outside of that, you got Caicedo, Enzo, then the likes of Mudryk, Pogba, Lukaku. Like, I looked at that list and I thought, statistically, is it worth spending 100+ million on a player at any point, even if they look like the best player on the market, even if they seem like the best signing? Is it actually worth it, given how statistically rarely those signings pay off? I don't know. It's interesting, but look, you know me. I'm on the Gyökeres train. I am on the Gyökeres train. 140 views is crazy. It is. It is. We're up to 140. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Thank you very much. If you could smash a like whilst you're here, that would be much appreciated. They waffle on about his ball retention when any player in the world can do that. Whose ball retention? Osman's. Would you like Beereth to stay? Yeah, well, Beereth can go out on loan again. Beereth is in this position where he's going up the loan. He's going up the loan ladder, right? So he was at Motherwell, was doing well there. Now he's at Sturm Graz. That's a bit of a step up. European football. Next season, another step up. Whether that's another team in the Premier League or he goes down the Balogun route of Ligue 1, something like that, but to a top division side. That's what I want. That's what I want for him. I don't think he's good enough to be in the squad next season, but it's good. It's good. Do you think we will sign Frimpong? There's going to be a lot of competition for Frimpong, and if he's not a priority for us, I don't think it'll get done. That's one because Frimpong is a release clause that will happen early in the summer. That he'll go to someone whose sort of priority is Frimpong, and I don't know if that'll be us. I'd love it, but I don't know if it will be. Have you seen that Gyökeres is on the bench for their game today? Interesting. Yeah, but it's quite an easy European game, right? So Europa League. What are they playing in? Some sort of Europa League. Oh no, they're drawing 1-1 with Atalanta. Interesting. Yeah, that is weird actually. Maybe they're just more focused on. Maybe they are more focused on the league. To be fair, I don't know. Have they got a big game coming this weekend? Unless he's carrying a knock. Not sure. No, they're away in Liga NOS this weekend, but I mean they are in a race for Champions League, right? Because if you win Liga NOS, that's the only position that's guaranteed qualification for the Champions League. So it is more important that they do that. But interesting. Neto being injured again has to mean he's off the list. I didn't realize he was injured again. Is Neto injured again? Say it ain't so. Is he injured again? I'm not seeing anything that says he's injured. Oh no, maybe there is. Well, oh yeah, March the 2nd. I didn't realize he got injured. There's not a lot saying hamstring injury, 75% chance of playing. I feel like, yeah, okay. I don't think that's too bad. Although hamstring again is problematic. What about Dybala to Arsenal? No, Dybala's nowhere near Arsenal's level. But what I wanted to actually talk about was Zubimendi last night, right? So, in fact, I'll bring it up. I will bring it up. Because Zubimendi last night for me, obviously you've always got the eye test. You've always got the eye test, and then you've got the stats. And for me, his stats don't look brilliant, right? His stats this season, there's a decent amount of greenery when it comes to goals. He's been compared to midfielders, obviously. Go per 90, suddenly that drops because he does play most minutes for Sociedad. And I'm thinking, so if we're bringing him in to play in the 8, if we're bringing him in to play alongside Declan Rice, if you look at what you want out of him, you want goals. Not crazy numbers, but you want goals, right? How many's he got this season? Where is it? 4. 4 goals, 1 assist in 24 starts. Outside of that, defensively, decent. Wins his duels. Or at least the ones that he competes for. Not a high level, but that can be to do with playing for Sociedad. Percentage, decent, in the green. But I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, chance creation, low. I prefer the eye test. Well, I prefer both. The truth is, I prefer both. I'll look at the stats, right? And if someone's stats are really high, generally I'll give them a pass no matter what, even if they don't look great. Because I think there are Arsenal players that people don't think look great, but the output is there relentlessly. Bukayo Saka is one of them. I mean, criminally, people don't rate Bukayo Saka because of the way he looks. Tom Garrett last night talking about Anthony Gordon having a better season than Bukayo Saka. Beyond criminal, right? The stats are all there. All of the stats are there. When you've got a player like Zubimendi, which, you know, people like Zubimendi, and he's been on Arsenal's radar for a while, so that gives him some credibility. We know that the ID at Arsenal is good. The talent ID at Arsenal is good, so you give it some credibility. And some, you know, that there are green shoots here that look decent, but overall, the stats are fairly average. That's the conclusion. You look through that, the stats are fairly average. And then the problem is that I've watched him against, you know, both legs against PSG, and he's looked average, in my opinion. You know, you look at this, doesn't look great overall. And the chance creation's a big issue. Defensive actions doesn't really matter. So I'm, you know, he's 25 years old, same age as Declan Rice, basically. You know, this isn't like a player that's got a huge amount of time to grow and develop. And I'm looking around at the other options available, and I'm just thinking, I don't think this is a big step up. And when I compare it, obviously I've been looking at strikers more so than midfielders recently, but when I compare it to a Gyökeres, where I'm like, I see it, Zubimendi, I don't see it, and I wanted to see it. I was actually keen on him, especially last summer, having not seen him much. And you know, you rely on compilations, which is never good, because you can make anyone look good with a compilation. So I worry about Zubimendi, being totally honest. And so then the other options that you've got, one of them is Amadou Onana, right? Which is a completely different style of midfielder. And one that I like. He's younger. He's 22 years old. He's an absolute monster. Now, one thing for me is that I think he's too similar to Declan Rice. In terms of, I think Rice and Onana's skill set overlaps each other a bit much. You could play both of them, and you would have a dominant midfield. But I don't know if you'd have the chance creation. I don't know if you'd have the technicality in the midfield that you need. There would be a handful of games a season where I think both of them in there would be good. Across the board, again, you go per 90, this output, not good, but I think, you know, he's in an Everton team, which is, you know, he has to do a lot of the dirty defensive work. You come down here, very good. Covers ground, you know, unbelievably, very similarly to Declan Rice. Aerial presence. He's good on the ball. He is good on the ball. He's a good dribbler of the ball. He can carry it progressively. But again, not sure that it's the one. But we have been linked to him, so you've got to take it somewhat seriously. And look, you know, is he a 6 or an 8? Again, he could probably do both. Maybe that's what we're looking for. But he's probably not the one. Not for me. And then you go to Frenkie de Jong, who we haven't been linked to Frenkie de Jong, really, other than the fact that Frenkie de Jong might want to leave Barcelona this summer, and we would be one of the clubs interested. Now, this is, for me, Frenkie de Jong is far more complementary to Declan Rice. And that's what I'm looking for, whoever's going to play alongside Declan Rice. Declan Rice is always going to be there, right? And you've got Partey or Jorginho or whoever that might remain next season. But this player that we buy, if we spend big money on them, is the future of the midfield alongside Declan Rice. 26 years old, perfect age. And then you come down. Obviously, he's had injury issues this season. You go per 90. Again, not offering much in an attacking sense, but here, his passing. This is where you're looking at a player that is just going to get us so many chances. He is. I don't like saying he's a more athletic Jorginho because I think it's a really lazy take, and I don't think Jorginho is actually that unathletic, other than the fact that he can't sprint. Jorginho is kind of like if the R2 button isn't working on FIFA. 107. We're nearly at 180 viewers. Unbelievable. You're all absolute legends. Now that's a good take. Yeah, it is. It makes sense, but it narrows both of them down if you just say is an athletic Jorginho. Jules is fine. That's fine. But he's the one where it's on the eye. I watched Frankie De Jong play, and I'm like, that's a player. That's a player. The issue with him, of course, is that he's currently on £700,000 a week. And so I actually put it to you, and I'll be interested to hear what you think about this. In fact, why don't I do a poll? Why don't we whip out a poll? But basically, the poll's going to be who do you want in the midfield, right? Obviously. But I put it to you, and this is my current opinion. I put it to you. Wait, I'm so incredibly bad with technology. I'm going to put it to you that none of these three are the one. I'm going to put it so. Midfield signing. Onana, Frankie De Jong, Zubimendi, other. And I'm going to put it to you that the answer is other in that poll. I look at these three. I think Frankie De Jong is the closest to what I would want, but realistically, I don't think it's affordable. And he's not perfect. He's not perfect, and I don't think he's kicked on quite in the way that I'd have liked to see him at Barcelona. He still is excellent. Injury issues are a recurring problem. Douglas Luiz is an interesting one. And we definitely wanted him. Was it 2 summers ago now? I think it was. Was it 2 summers ago? Or was it last summer? Was it last summer we wanted him, or 2 summers ago? I think it was 2 summers ago, right? That we wanted Douglas Luiz, and we offered when you look back on that, we offered 25 million, and they wanted 28. We were really close to getting Douglas Luiz for not a lot of money, and Douglas Luiz would be one that I would want. But again, I just don't think Villa are going to. Well, Villa apparently have to sell this summer, but they're looking at selling younger academy products. They don't want to sell any of the big boys. And so if you go in for a Douglas Luiz, you're going to pay a lot of money. Whether he's the one or not, I don't know. Musiala, yeah, Musiala is an interesting one. Musiala is different to all of them. Doesn't have the same sort of defensive qualities, but in an attacking sense, the way he carries the ball. I mean, he is more of an attacking midfielder. Musiala is one where some games would be good, some games, the sort of game where currently we'd play Jorginho, those big games where we'd play Jorginho, I don't think Musiala would play because I just don't think he's good enough defensively. But he would be. I mean, look at this. Look at this. That's some sort of greenery. That is some sort of greenery. And even if you go per 90, it's filthy. It's filthy. But again, I don't know if he's the 6/8 that we want. It's a different signing for me. If we get Musiala, it's a different signing. I'd love him. Watching him play, over the last couple of Champions League games, big fan. Only 10 goals and assists this season. Yeah, but that's only in 16 starts. That's not bad. 10 contributions in 16 starts from midfield, not bad. 180 viewers and only 50 votes. How many votes? What votes have we got? We've got Frankie De Jong on 50%. So a lot of people do want Frankie De Jong. Would like Joel Linton. I don't know if Joel Linton's technically good enough. And then we'll look at Luiz. We'll look at Douglas Luiz. Aloha, Douglas Luiz. Set piece taker, which is, interesting. I like this. It's surprising, actually, his defensive actions. I don't know why, but I feel like he does more than that. 9 goals and 5 assists. I like it. I know a lot of them are penalties, but in fact, how many are penalties? 4 of them. 4 penalties, 5 goals from open play. Oh, hello. I mean, that is green. That's I didn't realize that was like that. Per 90. I mean, it's still his non-penalty XG's down because he scores so many penalties, but yeah. I mean, maybe we do just go for Douglas Luiz. I just don't think we can get him out of there. That's the issue. I just don't think we can get him out. Grealish, 14 goal and assists in nearly 2 seasons. Rice, 11 goal and assists in 3/4 of a season. Yeah, exactly. I nearly did a tweet last night just to rattle people, but I refrained because I couldn't be bothered with the backlash. But if you go and look at Declan Rice's Declan Rice has 10 goal contributions this season, which is basically the same as Endo, McAllister, Caicedo, and Enzo, McAllister, and Caicedo all combined have 11, and Declan Rice has 10. You love to see it. Can see Villa asking 70, 80 million for him? Yeah, that's the issue. And you look at that and you'd go, well, yeah, that is a pivotal player to their squad, and you could understand them asking for upwards of 70 million for him. But look, we're going to have to spend big money if we want a big player, you know? If we were to draw Barca next round in the UCL, what do you think the score would be over 2 legs? I think we'd beat Barca 4-2. I could see us beating them 2-1 and 2-1, something like that. I think we'd be pretty comfortable against Barca, to be honest. They're poor. They're poor this year. They've got injury issues left, right, and centre. I think we'd be fine. Barca, if they go through, would be Barca and Napoli are both teams that I'd happily draw in the next round. To be fair, in fact, realistically, yeah, that's probably PSV Dortmund and then Barca Napoli are probably the two. Because I don't think Napoli are great this season either. I mean, they're not great if you look at their league position and the performances that they've had. What's your favourite type of kickoff, e.g., day and time? Interesting. What is my favourite? I think it's 5:30 on a Saturday. 5:30 on a Saturday, I think, is my favourite. I don't like the 3 p.m. If you're talking in terms of going to the games, this is 5:30 on a Saturday. Douglas Luiz on the set pieces for Gabriel and Saliba, we would cook. Yeah, we would. I mean, we already are, to be fair, with Declan Rice. But if Douglas Luiz is even better, the good thing is, if Douglas Luiz is even better, then you could start throwing Rice into the box as well. Then you've got Gabriel, Saliba, Rice, Havertz, flipping Ben White. I mean, it's an mayhem. Did you see idiots on Twitter believing the stat that Vieira only made 50 tackles in 307 games? I didn't see that, but people will believe anything on Twitter. They will believe anything on Twitter. So look, we're in the position. The poll, by the way, we'll end it there. 19%. Well, I've just got rid of it now. 19% wanted Onana, 15% want Zubimendi, 20% want other, and 44% want Frenkie de Jong. So there you go. Look up Fofana. Right, we'll look up Fofana. Presumably Yusuf. We're not going for Seko. He's sold his soul to the Saudi League. I mean, that's not bad. That's not a bad spread. 1 goal and 3 assists in 22 starts. 25 years old. I know Man United are interested in Fofana. I mean, it's green, isn't it? Outside of goals, this I don't like. This I don't like. That's not great. I feel like in the current Arsenal team, this isn't good enough. Again, right? And this is where eye test comes into it, because I'd have to go and watch him play. You meant Wesley Fofana? Surely not. Why would I look at Wesley? Big old Wesley. But yeah, look, it looks all right. Looks all right. But definitely better defensively. But that passing, I'm not a huge fan of. Do you think we'll sell Smith Rowe? I hope not. I hope not. But I could see it happening, but I hope not. And then Kefren Thuram. Right, Thuram's the last one we'll look at before we run out of time. But again, Thuram is one that's been on. Kefren Thuram is one that's been on. Younger, 22. I like this. No goals and no assists in 16 starts is it's not ideal. Where does he play? Does he predominantly play 6 or no? He plays as an 8. He does play as an 8. Per 90. I mean, yeah, he's got 1.66 expected. He just hasn't scored yet. Ooh. I mean, it's not quite at the same level as some of the others. But again, this is one of those players. He might just do a lot, but it doesn't reflect in the stats. But overall, can we see Rice's stats? Okay, yeah, we can see Rice's stats. We'll look at Rice's stats to show what people are competing with. This is what people are competing with, right? This looks fine. It's just green. It's just green. Per 90. I mean, it's not, Douglas Luiz is greener. Douglas Luiz is greener. But and this is what I'm saying, right? This is why you do have to use your eyes as well as stats. A lot of this is because we don't actually do much defending, right? A lot of that's because we don't do much defending. And when we do, it's normally people counter-attacking against us, which is difficult. This, fine. His goals, he's been playing predominantly as a 6, not an 8. So we are comparing 6s and 8s here, which is difficult. This is the key. This is the key. And whoever comes in, the passing is the priority. Because in the Arsenal team, the way that we play, so much of the ball, progressive passes, that's the key. That's the key to letting the front 4, 5 go at it. So, look, on paper, Douglas Luiz looks like a better player than Declan Rice. But this is where you watch players as well. Gyökeres came on at half-time, so must not be fully fit to start. Interesting. Hopefully he comes on and puts on another show, just so that to be fair, actually, I say that I kind of want him to slow down a little bit, because if we are going to sign him this summer, I could, hopefully there's not competition to trigger that release clause. But we'll see. Yeah, Luiz plays further up than Rice does, definitely. And Rice has a lot more single-handed defensive responsibility in the Arsenal team than Douglas Luiz does in the Villa team. Anyway, it is time for Guess the Gooner, the game where I give you 5 clues about an ex or current Arsenal player, and you have to guess who that player is in the comments. Get your fingers on your keyboards. You'll get the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community if you are the first person. We've got all of the big dogs in. VV Vlad's in. Ross Lawman's in. I feel like there are some other big hitters, but those two are the Pekka's guessed Aaron Ramsey again. Not today, Pekka. Not today. Clue number 1. This player played for 4 different Premier League clubs. They played for 4 different Premier League clubs. Clue number 2. They made their senior debut for Servette FC. Yeah, people were just guessing. Don't worry. Clue number 3. They scored 4 goals in 117 games for Arsenal. Clue number 4. They made 57 appearances for Switzerland. And clue number 5. They won the FA Cup in 2005. And look, we called it before we started. And he has cemented his place. He has cemented his big dog status. It's VV Vlad. It was Philippe Senderos. If you're old enough to remember watching Philippe Senderos play, poor you, if anything. Second, and there you go. Second was Ross Lawman. So it was the big 2 that came in at 1 and 2. Joe Edits was 3rd. Flo was 4th. and Ethan Udall was 5th. Emilio and Sportcat just missing out on the top 5. But congratulations. Congratulations to VV Vlad. How many signings should Arsenal make this summer? I think it'll be 4 or 5. We'll sign. The thing is, we'll get rid of Ramsdale, which means, in my opinion, we'll go and sign a backup goalkeeper, which will be just a relatively nothing signing. Striker, midfielder, backup winger, another defender. So that'll be 4 and then potentially a 5th with the keeper. I'm too young for this. You gotta learn your history. Those of us that used to have to watch Senderos, Giroud, Squillaci, they were the days. I mean, Wenger actually did bits with them, to be fair. Better than he should have done. Don't make me feel old. It does. Anyway, time for Guess the Non-Gooner. Guess the Non-Gooner. I will give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal, and you have to guess who that player is. Pascal Saigon. What a player. All right, I'm going to give you the full career path. This player does not play for Arsenal. You have to guess who it is. This player started their career at Hereford United. They went to Hull City and West Ham. Hereford United, Hull City, West Ham. Who is the player? And it is George Christodoulou who got it first. It is indeed Jared Bowen. My claim to fame. Nick is second. Emilio is third. Ethan Udall is 4th. And Saka, number 7, is 5th. No place for Ross Lawman or VV Vlad in the top 5. Ross missed the send button. He's fuming. He is fuming, but it was Jared Bowen. Congratulations to George Christodoulou, another long-term GOAT of the streams. Congratulations. Is it you? No, it's not me. Robbed of a second. Unfortunate. Oh, Ross always has excuses. Oh dear. Who are you watching tonight? Before we wrap this up, Champions League tonight. Are you going to bother watching Man City, or are we all going to watch Real Madrid? I mean, look, Real Madrid against Leipzig. I'm massively expecting Real Madrid to win. They're at home. They're 1-0 up on aggregate, but maybe Leipzig can do something for us. Jude Bellingham's back for them. Daily AFC content's blaming the phone for it. He's blaming the phone. Neto or Elise? I prefer Neto, but both of them have injury issues that concern me. But I think I prefer Neto. If I type my excuses as fast as the answer, I'd win every time. Madrid. Arsenal, Arsenal women play as well. Get both of them on. To be fair, is Arsenal women on TV? Sesko Masterclass. I mean, it would be interesting, right? I will keep an eye on Sesko tonight. And Xavi Simons. Wanted him last summer. It's on Sky Sports News. What's your Arsenal versus Porto second leg prediction? 3-0 Arsenal. 3-0 Arsenal. It will depend on a couple of injuries coming back, but overall, I'm thinking 3-0 Arsenal. Conti Cup semi-final, BBC. Oh, nice. It kicks off in basically now, actually. What's the Xavi situation? Is he going back to PSG? I don't know. I think they might let him go. I don't know, though. I don't know. Thing is, he is a little bit surplus to the team that they've got at the moment, potentially, but then it's decent depth. So Victor Gyökeres is so good watching him now. I love watching him. He's everywhere. He's such a team player. He's everywhere. He's powerful. He's fast. Links up so well. Will finish it if he gets the chance. He's the boy. Anyway, that is going to be the end of the stream. A massive, massive thank you. I think we've smashed the viewer record. We nearly hit 200 at one point. We've been sat at like 140 plus for the whole stream, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Click a like on the video before you leave. That would be massively helpful as well. Other than that, have a fantastic evening. We'll be back same time tomorrow, 6:30. And until then, enjoy the Champions League football. and I will catch you tomorrow. Goodbye.